Hey everybody, I'm very excited today to be at my good friends Brian and Kendra's house, and we're going to do a really quick healthy dessert. I know dessert and healthy usually don't go together, but we're going to try to make that happen today, and we're actually going to do a whole wheat stuffed crepe. And crepes are a little intimidating for people because they're very delicate, they require a little extra prep, but this one we've kind of streamlined it and made it pretty easy to work with. It's more of a pancake than a crepe. It's more of a prake or a can cake, we can kind of go that way. So what we're going to start with are 2 egg whites. I took the yolks out, which you usually find in crepe batter. We've got 2/3 of a cup of some skim milk. And instead of regular white flour, we're going to use some whole wheat flour, which is kind of changing the recipe a little bit. It's going to give it a little bit of a different texture, but it tastes really nice, and it's for people who are concerned about that white flour thing, it's a great alternative. I'm also going to do just a touch, about 1/4 teaspoon of some nice fresh ground cinnamon to give it a little flavor, and then we're just going to whisk it up. Now the crepe batter is going to be a little thin, and that's what we want. We want it to be, if it looks like pancake batter, it's too thick. And if you get to mix in, if your cup measure is a little bit more than mine and it's a little thick, you can just add a little bit of water to it, and that's okay. But we want it a little thin, almost slightly thicker than buttermilk, let's say. Okay, and this is our batter, that's it. And that's kind of the texture we want right here. So now we're going to go over, I've got a pan on the stove. We don't want a screaming hot pan, we just want a little bit of like a medium-high heat going on here, because we don't want to scorch it. We're going to put a little bit of oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever you want. But the key is to have a good non-stick pan, okay? And I've got a little pourer in here, so I'm just going to pour this guy in here. And this batter, this recipe will make a good 4 to 6 crepes, depending on how big you want to go. And once you pour it in, you can kind of shake it around a little bit, spread it out, and then we're going to let it go on the heat. We don't want to mess with it right now. We want to let it just kind of cook. I'm going to turn this up just a touch more. But you'll see the edges are starting to kind of brown a little bit there and starting to change color, getting a little more solid. And that's a good thing. That means we're getting ready to go. You also want to have a nice little spatula right next to you. And you can make these up ahead of time. You can do all your crepes up. Dessert on the fly is hard to do sometimes when you've got practices and stuff going on. But this is something, you can make these crepes a day or 2 ahead of time. Keep them in the fridge, heat them up in the microwave, and serve them slightly warm, and you'd be all set and ready to go. And that wouldn't be a problem at all. They'd be just fine. It looks like this guy's getting ready to flip already. It doesn't have to be perfect, so don't stress about that. We're just going to kind of go around and loosen it, and then what I like to do is just kind of, once I get a little fold here, you can see how it's coming together. We're just going to lift it and flip it just like that. Okay? So super easy. You can really smell the cinnamon coming out too, and it cooks very quickly. We're basically just going to kind of kiss it on this side, and that's ready to go. So we're going to shut that off, and I'm just going to let it sit in there for a minute to stay warm, and we're going to come over and work on our filling. Now the crepe by itself isn't going to really blow your mind with flavor. It doesn't have a lot of sweetness, but it's got great texture, so we got to add something to it that's going to make it yummy. And what I've got is some great fresh peaches and some fresh blueberries. Blueberries are great for antioxidants, so we're going to use those. And I'm not going to add any sugar to this dish at all. We're going to add some natural flavors. So one of the things I'm going to do is use fresh orange juice, a really good sweet orange. And before I juice it, I'm going to take some of the zest off. If you guys have got one of these cool little zester gadgets, but these are great. You just kind of come down and take some of this peel off. Not the white stuff, just the peel. And we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to cut it in half. And we're going to squeeze the juice over these berries. The whole orange. And again, we're going to squeeze it with the cut side up so we don't lose any seeds in here. We catch the seeds with our hands because we don't want seeds in that. Okay. Set that aside. We're just going to kind of mix that up a little bit. And that's it. Now we could add some fresh mint to this. We could add some strawberries. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to keep it really, really simple. But the orange, the blueberry, and the peach go really well together. Now with that, we're going to take our zest that I have here. And I'm just going to run my knife through it. And do a little chop. Kind of cut it into some smaller pieces. The zest is all totally edible, but we don't want big hunks of zest. It's a little hard to eat sometimes and gets kind of difficult. But I've got about a tablespoon of zest here. And what I'm going to do is add that to about a cup of some non-fat plain yogurt, so no sugar added here. And we're going to take half our zest and throw it right in there. And then we're also going to add some honey, which you can tell I just went to the grocery store and got all this stuff because I didn't take the label off this one, but that just shows it's the real deal. And we're going to add about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, depends on how sweet you want it, of a good quality honey. This is honey where they don't add any processed sugar to it. It's the real McCoy. It's a little bit more money, but it's a great quality and you know what's in it. And we're just going to mix that up. And what that's going to do is give us that sweet factor that we're looking for with the berries and the crepe. And that's going to kind of take the place of our sweet cream or our whipped cream. But now I'm going to grab our crepe. And we got our beautiful serving plate here. We're going to put our crepe on there. And you'll notice it's pretty easy to work with. You know, we can roll it up, it's not going to break. And what we're going to do is take some of our fruit, some of our peaches and our blueberries, and this is definitely something the kids can help with. It'd be a lot of fun for them to help put these together. Maybe they can pick the fruit out in the grocery store, and it gets them involved, and I know if they help, they're more apt to eat it, which helps a lot. And then we're going to take a little bit of our cream on the inside. Just kind of spoon it over there. Now you can just fold it in half, like I'm going to do, or you could roll it like a burrito. Whatever floats your boat. And to kind of dress it up a little bit, I've got some walnuts that are slightly toasted. I'm just going to chop those up for a little crunch factor. You could use almonds too, whatever nut you might like most, but very healthy. And we're going to do a little bit more cream over the top. The walnuts, a little bit more of that orange zest for decoration and flavor. And we're going to do a little bit of sugar. I'm going to cave on this one and use the shaker, just a little bit of powdered sugar so it looks nice. And that is ready to go. A really healthy, awesome dessert, whole wheat stuffed crepe. Thanks a lot for stopping by.